A guy that we can pencil in for a top 3 quarterback fantasy finish, Josh Allen. The Bills hold on against Arizona, close game, 34-28. Josh Allen, 18 of 23, 232 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, thrown to a lot of new pass catchers in this offense. He also, of course, has 39 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns on the ground. We got to hear from Allen on the game, not really about him, but more so the confidence in throwing to new receivers.
Everybody's going to find a way to get their touches, and again, I don't know what the stats were and who caught how many and how many completions I had, but it felt like every time I looked up, it was somebody new finding a way to get open and catch the ball, and I thought Joe did a great job of calling the game. Obviously want to get some guys more touches to get them going, but it's hard to argue with the results that we've got right now.
From a fantasy perspective, Matthew, this was kind of a classic Allen superhero game of him. The guys around him from a fantasy perspective, especially the ones we expect big things of, like Dalton Kincaid, not much going on.
Josh Allen was the consensus #1 quarterback in fantasy. He's also a proud fantasy life investor. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but yes, he was clearly the #1 quarterback taken off the board in every draft. He showed why in this game. This was, yet again, just a typical put you on my back superhero. Like the 2 rushing touchdowns were ridiculous. He throws for 2 as well. I think the bigger story isn't Josh Allen is great, because we knew that. We knew that already, right? And Big Show learned that the hard way, when I used him, when I used Josh Allen just to defeat him, to crush him like a grape.
Are you winning that matchup?
Oh, by a lot. I had the highest score in the League of Assholes in Week 1, just so you know. Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen. My team that Yahoo gave a D- to, by the way, Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen, looking pretty damn good, by the way. Thank you very much. Sorry, Big Show. Better luck next week. He's 0-1. But what I will tell you here about Josh Allen, what's most important, is not how good he is, but again, the target distribution. The target distribution was interesting. I think what's exciting is Keon Coleman looks like Keon Coleman played
capable.
He's
capable.
He had a role. I think he actually led the team in routes run and in snaps played. Like, he was out there a ton. Shakir gets in the end zone. I guess if there's there's obviously really disappointing game here for Dalton Kincaid, guys, and that might be the bigger concern, right? It's just like, how do you break down these pass catchers as well? It was a bad week all around, and we'll get into this a little bit later. Bad week all around for the elite tight ends, and I was somebody that I was a big elite tight end strategy proponent. So I will raise my hand and say, like, after Week 1, that does not look good. I do think better days are ahead, especially for Kincaid, who played 88% of the snaps as well. I know, 2 targets, 1 for 11, but just he ran a ton of routes. He was out there. Better days are ahead for Dalton Kincaid, I think, and for tight ends in general, but specifically to this offense. My other concern is it's clear that Keon Coleman's going to have a role, but the rest of the guys, the Khalil Shakir, the Curtis Samuel, Mac Hollins, the issue you have with the Texans, I think, is a bigger issue with the Bills.
Yeah, well, and again, another unpopular, unfun take from me, and I'll be more positive about the next game, but I don't think we learned anything about Buffalo in this game. I think the Cardinals have a bottom 2 defense in the league. What we learned is what we already knew, which is that Josh Allen is amazing. He's a top 2 quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion. We already knew that. Like, I have no idea how this is going to shake out with Keon Coleman, with Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel. Their next 5 games, the Bills, we're going to learn everything that we need to know. At Miami, home Jacksonville, at Baltimore, at Houston, at New York Jets. That is an unbelievable slate of tough defenses and tough teams, and we'll learn what we need to about Coleman. And look, Dalton Kincaid's going to be better. That's not going to happen again. A weird game overall.
It was. I mean, they were down. They were negative game script, but whatever. We expect the Bills to be, fantasy friendly as well. James Cook looked great, which was nice. James Cook even got a goal-to-go rushing attempt. Now, he didn't convert it, but still, it was very exciting.
It existed.
At least there was hope that James Cook might score a rushing touchdown from in close, maybe someday. But anyway, I hear what you're saying. But look, they had to go. They were trailing in this game, and they started throwing a decent amount. James Cook still got a decent amount of work here. I think this is what it is. Like, I think you heard Josh Allen just talk about it. Like, I think it's going to be tough to sort of trust any one. Kincaid's going to have a role, and just the fact that Keon Coleman had a 90% route participation and 23% target share.
That is key. That's the most important thing I think came out of the game.
By the way, and I'm using all these stats if you go to fantasylife.com, it's all free. The utilization report. We have a whole utilization chart for every single game, every single player. Go check it out at fantasylife.com. It's powered by our friends at PFF. So anyway, but fantasylife.com, we have all this game data for every single player, and that's where I'm getting all these numbers from.
And that's super relevant for our next player, in Marvin Harrison Jr., who, listen, quiet debut for Marvin Harrison Jr. He catches 1 pass on 3 targets, but he played 90% of the snaps.
He did.
The target share wasn't there. Now, I know a lot of people are going to point to he was wide open for the potential game-winning touchdown, and Kyler didn't see him, didn't get him the ball. But you just want more from Marvin Harrison Jr. right away in this offense.
You do. You absolutely do. And I will say this about, right, and I think that if Kyler sees him and hits him in that touchdown,
the narrative changes.
The narrative changes. The day looks a lot different as well. I think what the Buffalo Bills did, listen, smart defensive head coach, smart defensive coordinator, good defense. They're like, you know what? We're going to take away Marvin Harrison and we'll figure out the rest, right? And that's ultimately what they did. I also, on that particular play, I have to go back and look at the All-22, but I remember watching that particular play live. Kyler Murray was under a ton of pressure.
Yep. I think he might have been going the other way. I need to look at it again, too.
Right. He was under a ton of pressure, and I think that just the way – I think that, again, I have to go look at the All-22, but this is my guess, is that Kyler was quickly under pressure, ran the other way to your point, and as soon as whoever was on Marvin Harrison saw that he was going the other way and maybe scrambling, or he ended up getting a first down on that play, just kind of left Harrison. And so just the way it looked on TV looked worse than it was.
I agree.
Than it actually was in real life, playing out momentarily. I thought Kyler Murray, yes, he is my ride or die, but overall, I thought he played well. He had a couple throws that I'm sure he'd like back, but listen, they had a chance to win down at the end. My guy, the human Dortch, Greg Dortch, got a lot of work. I think he remains to be a guy in deeper PPR leagues. And there was towards the end, it felt like there were two plays that on that last series where there was some PI calls that did not get called.
You'd like to get at least one of them.
Yeah, it looked like,
2.
especially there was one down at the end where Dortch got mugged, and I'm just like, come on, really? That's not a, So that was, Buffalo's lucky to get out of there with a win. Arizona played tough, and we talked about this.
Yeah.
Arizona's probably going to win 4 games this year, but they're going to be in all of them.
I think they'll win 6
Yeah,
games.
maybe.
Yeah,
I think they'll be.
they can score.
They can
They
score.
are
They're
trying
gonna
to
be
figure out the
scrappy.
defense, but Kyler can just make things happen. So
Just before we move off of Marvin Harrison, Justin Jefferson's first game of his career, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 26 yards. Next week, he had 3 receptions for 44 yards. That season ended up going 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns. I think Marv is too good to fail.
Yeah,
I agree.
would be happy to trade low for anyone that's panicking on him as well. Same for Trey McBride, 29% target share. 4 of his 9 targets came in the slot. Again, bad day at the office for Trey McBride, but better days are ahead. Again, he's running a ton of routes. He's out there on every snap. Elite usage. He'll be fine. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.